Support heroes that deal damage? What? Alright, let's calm ourselves. We are just going to change the meta forever with this video. So make sure to be one of the first users, as this will massively boost your winning chances. I'm sure a lot of people will tell me, Nico, you already have mages to deal damage, why should you build your support heroes like that? The short answer is pretty simple. Having more magic power is more beneficial than having higher defense stats, since the meta is full of tanky junglers, fighters and roamers. The long answer? Well, watch the whole video. Normally, support heroes are not as effective in the very beginning of a match. They don't provide heavy AoE stunts or have great defense mechanics like tanks. So they often try to support their side laners, especially the marksmen during the laning phase, to help them to become fat. Or they follow their jungler if they're a tank to make them unkillable. They can't really help their dashy assassin jungler though, as they go in and out of a gank very quickly before moving on to the next jungle rotation or turtle. So you as a support can't really follow them and support them as you're too slow, and probably only heal them once they're out of a gank or, well, admire the dead body. So in this scenario where you help your marksman, you can build your support hero in a way that you can deal damage while also healing your allies. Like this, you can force the enemy to either retreat or help to finish them off, which allows your marksman to snowball very early, which makes them unstoppable. Of course, your skills are not the same as a mage, but the damage output you can provide will still be very useful. But who will now provide the anti-heal items? The fighter who's busy in a 1v1 fight on the lane? The mage who normally stays at the backline? Or the jungler who needs their core items? The answer is everyone. As support gameplay is very different to a tank's when talking about itemization. Tanks build defense and counter items, so when they step in the front lane, all damage they receive is reduced. Like this, their squishy allies receive less damage as the enemy already blasted out all of their attacks. But a support should build different items so they are able to support their team. Makes sense, eh? Tanks stay in the front line to soak up all the damage, but supports use their skills for different reasons. They can stun, slow, immobilize, remove CCs, deal damage, and most importantly, they can heal, provide shields, and buff their allies. And these skills often become stronger as they scale with magic power. If you build a full tank build now, what can you really do after dealing very little damage and providing some healing? Not much, right? Yeah, okay, you can run in the front line and be the punching bag of the enemy and die. But if you equip some magic items now, it opens up a whole new type of gameplay for you and for your team, as you can deal damage while making your support skills much more useful. But a full magic damage build is also wrong in many cases, because every burst hero could delete you before you even used your support skill. So your goal is to have a hybrid build that works well against the enemy's lineup. Building damage and defense items should go hand in hand when playing a support hero. And to point it out once more, you have no fixed build. You need to build your items according to the enemy's lineup. Who's the biggest threat in the game? Is it a physical or magic damage hero? Are they using heals to be OP? Are they bursting you down with basic attacks or skills? Are they tanky AF and almost unkillable? Who shines in the early game and who's stronger in the late game? And which player is extremely good despite playing an F tier hero? There are so many questions that need to be answered, and you can't cover every possibility, as there are almost 200 million possible lineups. Insane, right? But we can show you a hero that works insanely well with the DSSB, the Damage Sustained Support build. As our guinea pig today, we have our chaos expert, Angela, or every jungler's girlfriend that make them simp hard. Let's have a look at her skills to know which items we have to build. Her first skill deals 170 plus 80% total magic power magic damage, while at the same time heals 150 HP plus 60% total magic power. This skill has 5 charges, and with her passive she increases her next skill's damage by 20% and slows the enemies by 8% for 3 seconds. This can be stacked 3 times, so spamming this skill is a very good idea if done right. Her second skill allows her to deal 300 plus 40% total magic power and slows her enemies for 3 seconds and up to 80%. If they are still within her range after 3 seconds, she can immobilize them for 1.5 seconds and deal an additional 450 plus 60% total magic power damage. And lastly, her ultimate attaches her to one ally and gives that ally a shield of 1200 plus 200% total magic power that lasts for 6 seconds. She can stay inside of her ally for up to 12 seconds, and during this period her first and second skill cost 0 mana. So, what kind of items would you build on her now? Only defensive items like Dominance Eyes, Oracle or Athena's shields? Or would you combine them with magic power items? Or maybe even go for a full magic item build? The answer is the last option. More magic damage items means more damage, heal and shields on all of her skills. And since she can hide inside of an ally, we need to reduce her cooldown times and don't need to build any defensive items for her. As emblem, you're obviously using the support emblem to gain the plus 15% healing effect, 10% cooldown reduction and 6% movement speed. As first talent, you use Inspire to have an additional 5% CD reduction. For the second tier, she can choose Tenacity to have a little bit of defense in the early game. And lastly, use Focusing Mark, which increases her allies' damage by 6%. For this spell, she can use Flicker to quickly escape from ganks and reposition, or Flame Shot to push close enemies away or to KS. No, please don't. As boots, you get Magic Shoes, which gives her a 10% cooldown reduction in the early game, which you should pair with a Roaming Blessing Favor. This adds 300 to 750 HP to any heal or shield every 10 seconds. By the way, if you want the deep itemization analysis for your main, make sure to join the MLG family today. The entire build path looks like this. As first item, you should get Fleeting Time, which gives her an additional 70 magic power, 350 mana and 15% CD reduction. Like this. You already have 40% CD reduction after you got your first core item, 15% from the emblem, 10% from your boots, and 15% from Fleeting Time. Also, the item's passive reduces her ult cooldown by 30% for every kill or assist that she does. Angela shines the most when she can use her ult, so having more access to it is obviously a good idea. Next, you build Ice Queen Wand as your second core item. This gives her additional magic power, 10% magic lifesteal, and 7% movement speed. The passive allows her to slow her enemies by 15% and up to 2 stacks, which you can easily apply with your first skill due to the long range and AoE, and also with her second skill. Next, get Glowing Wand as her third core item, which gives her an additional 400 HP and 5% movement speed, plus magic power obviously. This item's passive allows her to deal magic damage equal to 1.5% of the enemy's max HP, and you can increase their magic damage taken by 2 to 4 and up to 6 stacks. This item makes her first skill deal damage and burn the enemies, increase the magic damage to that enemies, while at the same time activating an item combo with Ice Queen Wall. You slow the enemies so they can't escape while also burning them down slowly. These are her core items you should always build, and the others are depending on her enemy. If the enemy has a lot of regen heroes, build Necklace of the Rods as second core item, and get Elegant Gem as very first item as it's part of the building path. If you don't want to die in the late game, get Immortality or Winter Truncheon, and remember to swap them once you use the skills of either of them. Get Divine Glaive if the enemy builds many magic defense items, and Athena Shield if the enemy Burst Mage don't like your status as a eagle. I would not recommend to build Oracle, as you only increase your own healing with it. Luckily, Moonton finally adjusted the description as it says now, received shields and HP regen are increased by 30%. Dominance Ice Cream is also also not recommended as it doesn't give you any magic power unlike Necklace of Durance. And since you spam your skills, you can easily activate the anti-heal passive. Now when using this build, Angela becomes obviously super squishy, and when you're not using her properly, she can become useless, especially when you run around like a headless chicken. So my friends, always remember these 3 pro tips. Tip 1. Use her first skill smartly. Do you need to help to clear the jungle monster or minion wave? Do you really need to heal your ally now? Do you need to add damage during clashes? With these self-questions in mind, you can make sure to not mindlessly spam around her skills. You always need enough charges from your first skill. Ready, so you're not ending up having no charges when it really matters. Tip 2. When to use her ultimate. Who is getting ganked in my team? Who has the lowest HP and might die soon? And should I even use my ultimate right now? Her ultimate skill is a utility type which should only be used when it's really needed. She don't need to jump straight into anyone and waste it just because her skills are available to her. Only use it when it really makes sense. Communication is key here, so if an ally spams the launch attack button, you might want to ult them. Also, you should ult the right ally. Ulting the mage or squishy marksman is often less useful than a tanky fighter or jungler. Then again, if the marksman is the only good player in your team, make sure to support that ally so they can carry your team to victory. Also, don't just ult anyone to force them to start a gang, as many players feel pressure to do crazy things once you ulted them. Tip 3. Positioning and map awareness. She shouldn't be in the front line to take all the damage, but also not in the back line where she cannot assist her team. She should be beside of her team, assessing which hero needs a heal and which enemy is squishy enough to be killed. Remember, you are a support, and every chance you have to help your team both in offense and defense can help your team big time in winning the game. Wildcard tip: play with an OP friend. Do you have a friend who is really good in Mobile Legends, especially as a jungler? Play together with them and rush through until mythical immortal. Just don't be that Angela that only ults them and ignores all of the other allies. Please. Angela is of course only one example of a support hero that greatly benefits from this type of a build. You can, for example, also build Rafaela and Florine like this, as they also greatly benefit from magic power scaling. But this we will cover in another video in detail, so subscribe to not miss that and check out this video where we show you the best heroes to rank up in solo queue. And let me give a huge shout out to our MLG family members, especially our Mythical Glory members like Duelist, Pro Gamer, and Fanny Bootcamp. See you over there!